Welcome back to Fujitsu Forum TV. It just seems to get busier and noisier, and I think that's going to be the theme of today as guests from more than 80 countries continue to arrive at Fujitsu Forum 2019. I'm going to say that again because that's quite staggering, isn't it? Guests from 80 countries around the world are all flooding through the doors at the front of the venue to come and see the latest innovation and hear the latest thinking from the smarts at Fujitsu, their partners, and of course their customers. Guests here, they get to experience 4 live keynotes and they get to participate in around about 60 interactive breakout sessions. But on Fujitsu Forum TV, we've got your back. We are showing you all 4 live keynotes. That's live, uninterrupted, the first of which comes up later this morning when President Takita takes the stage with Paul Patterson and Rupert Lehner, and they're talking about driving a trusted future. We will have shown you, by the time we come off air at 5:30 tomorrow, which seems a long way away from now, we will have shown you 40 live interviews from the very people running the breakout sessions. Our commitment to you is to look at the very challenges in your industry right now and how we can help boardrooms and technologists make better decisions with their IT. Next, we're talking edge computing. This has been on the rise for a couple of years now, but it brings questions, doesn't it, from how these distributed landscapes stretch from edge to core to cloud. What does that mean for the data center? Well, I'm delighted to say, joining me to share all of his smarts around the subject, Salil Lawande, Global Product Marketing Manager here at Fujitsu for IntelliEdge. Thank you for coming and talking to us.
Good morning, good morning.
Do you know, this edge computing is really gathering pace. I know it's been around for a while, but it seems it's now been sort of given a name and identity. For the benefits of the viewers that don't necessarily know what it is, or they don't realize they know what it is, can you just give us an overview of the edge landscape and the challenges it brings?
So, edge is compute capacity at where the edge is, where the data is generated. So nowadays you're looking at people, devices, you can call them things, sensors, far-flung assets. And what these do is people and these devices, they keep interacting with each other. And in the process, a lot of data gets generated. And the entire thing about this is that the volume of data is so much that you need something at the edge of your enterprise to process all of it. So, you're looking at a car with close to around 35 to 40 CPUs nowadays, and that can generate a ton of data, and that's an understatement. And this is the future. Everything is going to be smart, intelligent, interconnected, and with that you have companies need to actually look into how things are going, how the data can be used. So edge computing is your compute capacity.
I imagine these landscapes are quite complex, and listening to what you're saying, that challenge is only going to grow and grow as we become more hyper-connected. I mean, what sort of challenges does that present to businesses, having such complex ecosystems?
To be frank, it's already complicated. And what's happening is the data sets that are getting generated, it's getting fractured. There are too many people doing too many things all the time, and now you're adding smart devices to it. Previously, on the factory floor, you had assets that were not connected. Now they are connected. Now they come connected. So you're looking at a lot of proprietary systems. They're talking to each other. Now they have to talk to IT, and you also need to get your analytics out from that. You got to get your insight out, and it's a. I can't imagine. It's a big challenge for IT, especially to take care of such a large chunk of data.
You mentioned factories there. I can imagine edge has the propensity to really impact smart factories, manufacturing.
Yes.
I mean, what do we think's on the horizon? How do we think this is going to make things easier eventually for manufacturers?
So just to illustrate the quantum of problem that we have is on an average, an individual with a device can generate up to a GB of data per day. So that's at a person to device level. Now let's scale it up a bit and talk about a car, for example. So a car can do anything between 3 to 4 terabytes if it's a smart car, autonomous, per day. Now let's take it up a notch higher. You're talking about a small to medium location like a hospital or a retail a warehouse. It can take close to, it can generate close to around 1 to 2 terabytes of data. all right? And now let's take it one notch higher and talk about a smart factory. So if everything is interconnected, talking to each other, we are talking about roughly around 1 to 2 petabytes of data. And this is coming from Intel. So you no longer can, you can't send, even if you have 5G, you cannot send so much data up in the cloud, right? So what you do is you distribute your IT across, your storage, your compute, your analytics. It no longer just resides in the cloud, it also comes down to the core and also down to the edge. And that's where IntelliEdge comes into the picture, if that answers the question.
I mean, I'm sure there's people watching this thinking, wow, that's quite a big data problem that's only going to gather pace. I saw the Gartner stat within the white paper that Fujitsu had released from edge to core to cloud, which was just underlining the significance of the challenge and how it's going to grow. How important is it for businesses to get the right partners with unbiased advice when they're looking at their edge solutions?
That's a good question. It's common wisdom that there's no right or wrong answer in IT, but it always depends on what context, what scenario you are in. And the way I look at it, we have the basis covered in terms of the kind of partners we have, not only at the core. We got Nutanix, we got NetApp, we got Microsoft, and these are industry leaders in their own right. Plus we also have, with these partners, we also have the AWS story for our cloud. And in terms of our view to the whole thing, we are doing cloud, we are doing multi-cloud. And I think we also have a lot of history in manufacturing. And it makes sense to actually look into the offerings and see what we can come up with. But yes, Fujitsu is partnered with the right people, and that's what makes sense.
And I guess that's all as a result of the co-creation proposition.
Yes, absolutely.
Getting the very best partners available in market to deliver the best solutions.
Yes.
So you all benefit. Looking ahead, where do you think we're going to see some interesting changes on the edge landscape? I know I've not prepped you on that question, but while you're here, I just thought it'd be interested to get your insight in where you think the big challenges are going to come up and how we might be starting to address some of those challenges.
So it's gone to the level of a cliche now that the number of devices that are going to be on the planet are close to around 50 billion. And that's just
50 billion.
That's just a 2020 data point.
Wow.
You talk about 2025, they say it's going to go 3x. So you can imagine the kind of fractured landscape and how the data is going to come up. So anyone who wants to get ahead of the curve, they need to think about getting edge into the entire picture. It's no longer just going to be compute at the core and at the cloud. Because handling so much data, it's nearly impossible if you don't use the edge. You need the edge to get the edge, kind of.
Well, couldn't have put it better myself. You need the edge if you want to succeed. There you go. I think that might be the post that we see going out on Twitter later, attributed to you. 50 billion devices. That's just staggering, isn't it? We are going to continue to bring you insight from Fujitsu Forum TV as we look to explore the very challenges your business is facing. Throughout the day, we'll be bringing you interviews with experts from Fujitsu, their partners, and of course their customers. And later on, we're bringing you that keynote, the opening keynote, with President Takito, who's flown in from Japan, joined by Paul Patterson and Rupert Lehner, and they're talking about trust, driving a trusted future. What does that mean for vision? What does that mean for ecosystems? And what does that mean for agility? There's a lot that businesses have to deliver on, but you have to be able to trust your partners. There needs to be more ethics and morality around the application of AI. I don't think you'll find anyone here at Fujitsu Forum 2019 arguing otherwise, but what's the role of automation? In that keynote, they're touching a lot. Do join us for that. You'll be able to see live and exclusive coverage later this morning. Up next, God, I think we're staying with edge computing actually. We were talking to Frank yesterday, who came in had a chat with us from the NetApp team. He's coming back, and we're continuing the Edge conversation. So if Salil's sound bites have just piqued your interest, stick around. We'll be live. What time are we? It's 11 minutes past 10 here in Munich. We'll be back with you live at 10:30 where we pick up that segment. Stick around.